Never been to Cuba, but we've been to Puerto Rico and Central America. Hopefully, we'll get back there in the fall. People come to Florida because they think it's the home of death metal, and it's like the bands were all there and the recording studio was there, Morrisound, but it's not like people are driving down the street like wearing leather and spikes and blasting death metal.
This is Tony Gonzalez from Made in Metal, and today we are talking to Jack Owen, who is the guitar playing in 6 Feet Under. And we are here because there is a new recording called Next to Die. Hello, Jack, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. My first question is, what defines Next to Die identity compared to Killing for Revenge?
Oh yeah. Killing for Revenge was pretty much straight death metal all the way through. And Next to Die started out like that, and we had a whole album that sounded like Killing for Revenge, but all of the songs weren't so good. So we got rid of five or six and started writing a whole side of groove-oriented metal, like the first couple 6 Feet Under albums.
Did you participate in the recording process?
Yeah, I wrote all the music and about half the lyrics, and I record guitars in Florida with my friend Jason Sukoff at Audio Hammer Studios.
How did your songwriting change when you decide to blend a string speed with classic groove?
Yeah, it was mainly I use a drum machine to write my demos to. So I just looked at tempos from the early 6 Feet Under songs and dialed in the drum machine to be more in a groove vibe, I guess. So just using riffs from an archive that I had mixed with the drum machine that was more grooving along. That's how we came up with that side of groove.
What is the biggest challenge when combining your cannibal aggression with the swing of Sweet of 6 Feet Under?
Yeah, it's a little more groovy and fun and easier to play when you're getting older, like we are. So, and we do like the aggressive stuff, and there's a little bit on this album, but we like to play the older stuff that was slower, and we play a little bit of the fast stuff from the later days.
What is all about this album that makes you feel you are still evolving as a songwriter?
Yeah, just kind of keeping the continuity between the last three albums, I think. You can kind of listen to them and tell who wrote the music for those three albums, I think. Not really. I guess I'm evolving as far as technique and recording styles and equipment that I use, but I'm trying to keep an old school vibe to what I write.
So, how would you describe your creative chemistry with Chris Barnes today?
Oh, very simple. I write a song, I demo it, I record it, and send it to them, and it's usually yes, let's go with that, or maybe not, and I just move on to the next song. I've known him so long, we're just kind of family, and we're brothers, really. So we can always talk to each other about anything musically or really anything about life.
Is the story of you go to the studio and he asks, "What do you got?" and you play and they say yes or no.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can just email him songs as I finish them. So we ended up with a lot of extra songs that weren't very good on my part. So maybe we'll retool those and they'll end up on the next album.
Without a pre-existing lyrical concept, how do your riff fit with his lyrics?
Yeah, we really don't think about that. I mean, I write it, and if I don't have lyrics, I just let him take the song and write lyrics to it. Um, I don't think, well, I kind of think like verse, chorus, and maybe a bridge, and then a middle section in the middle of the song to break it up. But I'm not really thinking about where his lyrics would go. And usually when he finishes the song, it's something totally different from what I visioned, which is good.
Hi, I'm Tony Gonzalez, and this is Made in Metal. If you are passionate about rock and metal, this channel is your home. Here we celebrate the musicians, songwriters, and producers who have made history. We have already interviewed some incredible artists, and with your subscription, we can go even farther. Your support gives us visibility, open doors, and allow us to keep creating powerful, authentic content. Subscribe, share, and be part of this metal loving community. Thanks for being here and let the good rock keep rolling. In Next to Die, are there any tracks that change radically from the demo to the final version?
I don't think so. I mean, I listened to the demo and everything is almost perfectly the same because I do a demo with drums, but Marco, when he tracks the drums, he does a lot of different fills and different things of his own style. So that's good. But yeah, structure wise, it's pretty much exactly like the demos.
Were there any moment when a riff that you consider good, you need to discard for the sake of the album?
Let's see. I don't think so. Sometimes I feel like there's too many riffs in a song, and sometimes I feel like there's not enough. I just listen to them nonstop when I'm not writing or recording to see what feels good. And I put them on when I'm rehearsing to try and see how the final product should end up.
Let's talk about the sound in general terms. When you go in concert, did you use the same equipment, guitars that when you are recording?
No, I actually use what Jason has at his studio. My guitars are usually not set up well enough to use in a studio. They're fine for live, but they aren't professionally set up for a studio setting. So I use his guitars, his amplifiers. He's got everything dialed in and professionally set up, so I could just go to the studio and start playing.
And what kind of pedals do you use?
Let's see. Oh, I used the Boss Metal Zone, and that was it. Just that into a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier. That was it.
Because I read that you use multi-effect pedals and I wasn't sure.
Oh yeah, just live. I use Line 6 preamp floor pedals. But yeah, that's another thing that I don't think anybody would use it in the studio for a professional album.
How has your concept of tone evolved from Cannibal Corpse to today?
Yeah, I think I've just kept adding more mid-range as I got older. Just started as a kid playing, you take all the mids out of your sound to make it sound heavier in your bedroom or the small club. So I just wanted more clarity over time. So I just turn up the mid range a little more on my pedals and my amp.
It's interesting this part of the answer. Yes,
Yeah.
and according to the guitar solos, how do you construct a solo now? Melody, rhythm, or texture?
I let Ray do all the solos on the albums. I do put a solo on the demo tracks that I record just to save the spot for Ray. But I just play a lead like Robin Trower or Jimi Hendrix. It doesn't fit at all. Just a spot. But Ray is a guitar teacher, and he's our other guitar player. So he just has a brain full of theory for when he does his leads on the songs.
And in the studio, do you use guitars in different tuning?
No, this was all D standard. Nightmares of the Decomposed was all at D, very low, and then the last two albums have both been at D standard, which is only two notes down from standard tuning.
What three elements of your setup are untouchable in any live performance?
I do like a gate when I'm playing So if there's stops, there won't be any feedback. So that's something I have to have no matter what sound or matter what amp I'm using. I got to have a gate to stop the feedback and the noise between stops and between songs.
You have a long story in death metal scene. So I would like to ask you, do you from time to time listen to your classic riff to see what are the difference or to try to not repeat it yourself? Tell me.
Yeah, I play along with a lot of older albums that I've been on or older 6 feet under albums. So yeah, I can tell where the tone has changed and the style of writing has changed. Um, I guess it's a little more less aggressive as I get older, but still kind of a heavy distorted sound and I'm more concentrated on the songwriting rather than the individual riffs.
And in terms of feelings, do you feel do you feel proud of this music that you played before or shy? What do you feel?
Oh, we're very proud. It's always an exciting feeling when an album is coming out because you can start getting feedback from people and reviews and seeing how people feel about what you've been working on for a couple of years. So yeah, it's always a fun time.
What should fans understand about your departure from Cannibal Corpse?
I think I've said enough about that in the media over the years. So we're just concentrating on 6 feet under now, and they can kind of dig it up off the internet, you know.
And what did Deicide brings to your music that you hadn't experienced before?
Deicide I always looked at as kind of a heavy Slayer influence that they had in the band. So that's what I tried to write when I was in the band. Steve, the drummer, is just never slowing down, even as he gets older. So that was a process of trying to keep up with Steve as far as writing riffs and playing on the albums.
Is your more melodic or progressive side still present in 6 Feet Under?
I'm not sure. I would say, yeah, there's a little bit of melody, but there's never been a lot of melody in Cannibal, Deicide, or 6 feet under. I mean, there's guitar harmonies here and there, and we are playing melodies, but at the same time, it's abrasive and non-melodic.
Let me tell you that when I listened the first death metal bands, there was maybe uh, more than 40 years ago,
Mhm.
I imagine. So they play that speed because they are young. In 40 years, they cannot play this kind of music. But
Yeah.
the real life demonstrate that it was a mistake of my own. How is playing right now this kind of music very heavy and fast?
Yeah. As you get older, listening to it is still fun, but playing it is kind of a job that you have to work at almost every day to keep the speed up. Sometimes I can't feel the pick in this hand, and this hand isn't working as good as it used to. So luckily, 6 feet under music is a little easier to play than the average death metal.
And when you sit down to write for Next to Die, do you think about your legacy or do you try to do some things different?
I try to do some things different because I have enough material to write something fresh that would sound new and interesting to people. So yeah, I think about trying to keep the 6 feet under sound together and the vibe, but at the same time, I just write what I feel and write what comes out. And if it sounds that way, good. And if it doesn't, maybe that's good too.
When you are on tour or are in festival along the years, the younger death metal musician comes to you and asks questions and try to meet you? Is there this kind of friendship?
Yeah, I try to interact with fans whenever I can. If people want to take a picture or get an autograph, that's fine with me. And uh, I just appreciate their support over the how many years? 40 years now. So if there were no fans, then there wouldn't be a 6 feet under.
Did you try to, or did you listen music from the new bands that uh, plays death metal?
Sure. I'm always listening to the older bands that are putting out new albums and then finding new bands that are doing great albums. So, yep, I always have 10 to 15 albums that I have to get every year, either from older bands or newer bands.
What advice would you give a young guitar player today that you wouldn't have given in the 90s?
Try to play with more clarity and practice whenever you can, almost every day if you can. Just if you're going to play fast stuff, you have to play almost every day. And add more mid-range to your sound.
Mm. About the guitar solos. So, is there or which solo are you most proud of and why?
Well, Ray did all the solos on here on this new album. Oh, I did do one on Approach Your Grave. It's not really a solo, it's just a lead melodic pattern. That's the one I'm most proud of because it's my only lead work on the album. But I think I like Ray's lead on Mr. Blood and Guts, that song. That's probably my favorite on the album.
Do you improvise solos or build them note by note?
Yeah, I like to improvise, but at the same time, you have to be ready for the studio and be able to play the same thing 10 to 20 times just to get it right. So live improvisation is fine, and studio, you have to prepare.
How much of your sound actually comes from the pick and the right hand?
Probably all of it because I've noticed over the years that I hold the pick a strange way. It's kind of at an angle, so I'm kind of getting a squeaky sound when I pick. So you could probably tell that it's me playing that, and then everybody's left hand sounds different. Even if you're playing the same chord, somehow it's how you press the strings and how you hit them, how much thumb you're putting into the string when you hit the chord. So yeah, everybody's got their own sound.
Are you the guitar player who can play with any guitar, or you need to play only with the guitars that you want?
Oh, I could play on any guitar, I think, 6 string or 7 string. And I've played some bass guitar over the years. So yeah, give me anything. I'll play it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, because if the sound comes from your hands, it's
Mm,
not necessary sometimes a specific brand of guitar.
sure. Yeah. Amp, guitar, sometimes it doesn't even matter.
So now I'm going to ask you some questions that are not usual, maybe for you.
Okay.
Yes, the first is what are your less death metal hobbies?
Oh, I watch a lot of sports on television, like ice hockey and college American football. I have a cat rescue here, so I think I have 10 cats currently.
Yeah.
Gatos, mi gatos. So that keeps me busy. It's not metal. They're just all around me right now. So we have that, and really just music. If I'm not listening to music, I'm playing along to music or writing. So that's really it.
Yes. And what made you work with Chris Barnes again?
Hmm. I just kept in touch with him over the years, even though he left Cannibal and I continued on. We stayed in touch and we have been friends and kind of family over the years. So I just contacted him and was seeing if he needed any help. which I guess he did. So I got in the band.
From your classic catalog of music,
Mm.
is there a recording that you now are not happy of how was the final result and you would like to re-record?
Hmm. Yeah, maybe the Cannibal Corpse album Butchered at Birth that came out in 1991. The production could be a lot better, and the writing process was a little more stress filled, I think. We were trying to make up for sounding simple on the first album, so we overwrote a little bit. So, yeah, I think that's the only one that's hard for me to listen to this day.
Butcher at Birth,
Mhm.
I consider an extraordinary album.
Yeah, that was the of the first four albums, it's the one that's probably number four out of those four for me anyway.
What myth about the Florida scene would you deconstruct because it's not as you remember it?
Wow, that's a tough one. People come to Florida because they think it's the home of death metal, and it's like the bands were all there and the recording studio was there, Morrisound, but it's not like people are driving down the street like wearing leather and spikes and blasting death metal. Tampa was a huge spaced out town, area wise. So it wasn't like you could go anywhere and find death metal. So that was like the main myth. People could come and see a show once a week, maybe, and go visit Morrisound, but that's about it.
So I imagine over the years that and now when you see the Florida, the cities, you see more different kind of music, more even salsa,
Hmm.
reggaeton, Cuban music. Yes,
Sure. Yeah, there's everything from Orlando to and Miami, especially. A
yes,
lot of a Latin feel to it for sure.
yes. And my last question, Owen, is what would you like a guitar player to learn from you 30 years from now?
Oh, what song or what
What
style?
songs or what technique or what
Oh,
memories?
wow. Let's see. Probably songs from this album and the last 6 Feet Under album would be kind of like where I've ended up, like evolution wise, as far as my playing and writing. So anything in there, like the song Neanderthal or Hostility Against Mankind, where I can kind of combine metal with like groove, stoner rock type riffs. That would be fun for somebody.
Are there any plans for an European tour after releasing the recording?
We're gonna do all of June in Europe. We're gonna do most of the festivals, and we'll headline some shows around that.
Perfect, Jack. So
Cool.
thank you very much. Those were my questions.
All right.
I hope I say all the people that I interview that if someday you were here in Spain or in Madrid, I will try to meet you in person
Oh,
and
cool.
just shake your hands and offer a beer if you want to have a drink.
Sure. Una cerveza, por favor.
Perfect, perfect, Jack. Your Spanish
Oh,
is perfect.
all right. Gracias.
So bye.
All right, made in metal. See ya.
Bye.